All right. Um, this will be a video mostly just to show my appreciation for Destiny, the game, and just what it's been throughout my life. Um, I don't know how to, I guess, do this. This would be mostly the first time I'm doing it in person, and if anything, just don't. I guess we'll see how this goes. Um, let's start here. Hello, everyone. Um, I'm doing this video just just to show my appreciation regarding Destiny, what it means to me, mostly for I guess a memory, um, a recorded memory just for myself and just for the history of what this impact was for me, um, and maybe for future stuff. Um, for I guess Destiny, it was really what I want to say a game that you really were like you were there. You were a main character. You were a guardian, and even though you had no memory of who you were, you had these powers. And that story really clicked on me when I first heard it back in, I guess, 2014, 2013, when it just first started. I wasn't really up to the first person shooter games. I only went into it mostly for my brother. He loved Halo and he wanted someone to PvP. I didn't really get to the story of Halo. Tried to at the last minute, but it just didn't appeal to me like it did for him. I saw him play, but he just wanted someone to, test his skills in PvP. So I got into the gameplay of the gun shooting like that. But at that time, I was mostly for role playing games like Skyrim and Assassin's Creed, little stories, or big stories like Kingdom Hearts and Infamous, and just those, I guess, story driven games, third person games. And as much as Halo was important for my brother, it just didn't appeal to me that way. But the gunplay was at least common to me. So when Destiny appeared for Bungie, the story did click for me, and I pre-ordered it. I have the collector's edition of the Ghost for PS3, and that's where I started. I was still on that since I did trade the system with my brother, and even though the story was like not completed, open ended. You load in, you wake up for me to think about, and it just when you got to the end with the darkness and everything, the garden, it just felt like there was still more to come. And in that first year, even though I see a lot of people, appreciating, I guess, the raids and the content at that time, I was actually going in and out of it. I did go in for the story with any expansion that they did, House of Wolves, Crota, and I, I was just mostly going in and out since I was in school at that time. And when taking King Drop, however, because of the story, because of everything that happened, it actually got me more, I guess, hooked to play. And since Oryx didn't die in the campaign, he had to go to the raid. I had to go to LG, ask my brother to try to get into a raid group to, kill him off. see the conclusion. And just that story and just the changes that they did in that year just helped improve, I guess, my obsession for Destiny. And even though the raids were great at that time, I was still playing it solo, just mostly playing the content, the PvE aspect, just strikes, a little bit of Crucible with my brother, but again, it was just mostly the story. And then the change for Rise of Iron and D2, anything I needed to do as a group, I had to try to find, a clan and just do the raids as much as I can and just finish up the trophies for PlayStation and, get that at least completed before D2. I I found a group that wasn't too bad, helped me get some achievements. I think at the time it was for the concept, but after D2, it was actually like a separation, and we started our own group. The people I played raids with still play some raids, still talk at least, and that's mostly what I loved for Destiny: the group aspect in raids, the ability to go to destinations either for strikes or just play on your own if you wanted to help someone or in LFG or clanmates. Um, there was that community, and that was really, really great. I would like, I guess, to touch up on, I guess, my favorite moments for Destiny, and it was mostly the raids. You know, finding 6 people, trying to do the puzzles, seeing the raid competitions, the raid races, and trying to get the triumphs done. That was actually something I really enjoyed. For Destiny, the triumphs, your score, the titles, seals. If you can see, I did collect every seal in the game. Um, Still missing, however, some flawlesses, but I did love the raids, and those are actually my best memories in terms of when I think of Destiny. You know, what happened during Last Wish with the raid race. I followed that all 24 hours towards the end. Um, for God of Glass in D1, my brother actually took me for that raid. Crota's End in D1 was actually low man because at that time there wasn't a lot of people playing, and the people I found in LFG and I guess the friends I made there at the time, um, we low manned it since it was easy enough. It actually shows it in my records for the transfer of D2. King's Fall, that one. That one was interesting because, again, I wanted to finish the story up. So when I wanted to see Oryx die, I actually found a raid group doing the boss fight. And I had no idea what to do. So I had to double back to try to find a fresh team to try to get the whole experience. King's Fall was very long, I remember, but it was very satisfying to finally kill Oryx. And then Wrath of Machine, that's when I was mostly trying to get a clan, Rise of Iron, and just that, I guess, theme of Xivu and Outbreak. Oh, that puzzle was great. Was one of the, best experience, to finish up D1. And then with Age of Triumph, the new gears, pieces that they displayed, it was just an awesome way to at least close up D1 before D2. I actually, for Wrath of Machine, was mostly the binary person for Outbreak Quest. Towards almost D2 starting up, I finally was able to see the main room open up. So I'm glad about that whole, at least full circle for the quest line. Like, as much as I love helping with the binary, I did want to see the whole room and, that whole experience. Leviathan. When Leviathan dropped during, I guess, D2, was actually when I was actually kicked out of my previous clan. Still have the message in Discord. It was actually the turn of the year in 2018 that they kicked me out mid-raid, still with the raid group I was in. And I can still remember their reactions regarding the clan tag is not there anymore. What happened? And then we just started our own raid group, actually clan, in the same um, run, same time frame. But it was just like, it was very interesting to lose and then gain another one. At least at that time. Either worlds was very short raid there, but we ran it so many times that we just got it down so quick. And of course, the boss fight for double tether and the orbs. Oh my god, so many orbs for so many golden guns. That was a nice meta. Spiral Stars was actually a tricky one. As much as the final mechanic of throwing the orbs was, somehow the platforms was just very tricky. It was very heavy in terms of raid layers that I remember. And it caused a little discord with my teammates because of those, of mostly the positioning of what we were doing. Last Wish. Last Wish was the start of those raid races. The whole battle just coming in so close for that envelope. And just the exotic drops and the changes that they did. It was very interesting, that whole spark being included in the beginning of the raid. When I finished that raid, I was doing it on LFG. I could still remember playing in my kitchen, trying to get it done. And when I finally got there, it was early morning. My parents waking up, asking me what I was still doing in the kitchen. And just when opening the chest, the raid exotic drops. I think it was my first raid exotic drop on a fresh run. Scourge of the Past. Scourge of the Past raid, I learned it enough to actually teach my clanmates. Taught 5 new people that raid, and that took 4 hours. But when we got it done, it was so satisfying. It was also a very infamous raid for my clanmates because of the exotic drop, Anarchy. Oh my god, Anarchy was not dropping for me. Like, even after the buffs they did for the drop rates, it still didn't. I think I reached around 80 runs before it finally dropped for me. The scream I did when it finally dropped, only for 2 weeks later to get a little bit nerfed. It was a great experience. Hopefully I can find a video on that. But yeah, Scourge of the Past. Crown of Sorrow. Crown of Sorrow was one dropped at the same day of the release of Opulence. Like 6 hours to prep. Like, that's insane. But the raid jacket was very beautiful. It was actually the start of me trying to do the raid in the first week to get the jackets. Still love that jacket. It's very, very beautiful. I do appreciate that. Garden of Salvation. That's when we tried, at least my clanmates, to get into the raid race. But we kind of got stuck on the second encounter. that actually stayed consistent in most of the races until Weird Nightmares. But yeah, second encounter always made us get stuck. But at least for Garden, um, and the daily quests, I did like the puzzles. Garden, if I remember correctly, we almost got it down to get a flawless before they made the changes. I'm still a little bit annoyed about that because flawless was the last thing I needed for the triumph, and then the day I was gonna do it, I see that I got it completed, sealed is there, yet the flawless triumph was not there anymore. I do um, miss that they removed the flawless triumph on the raids though. That is something I should remember for Last Wish. Did the Petros run 3 times on a day because the first one, uh, one of the people trolled us at the end. Second one, I was disconnected, so at the end it didn't even count. And then the third one, I met a nice group of people that actually got me through it. Deepstone Crypt. Deepstone Crypt is one that I wish I did get the day one emblem. It's also one that actually is a somber for me, and one I was very close to getting. Like again, my clanmates, we got stuck at 8 tracks, but I kept going to try to get it done. Especially I think after they maybe extended it, or it's because it was a Saturday, one or two. But I wanted that emblem. I loved the Corvus Bray lore. I loved wanting to know the Longsword Whisper, that emblem with the blue, the blue scanner buff. That's very infamous in my clanmates. Like they actually kicked me in some of the runs because I love that buff, and I really wanted that emblem. And Deepstone at that time was during the pandemic, so some friends I knew messaged me to actually hang out with them, but I let them know I was doing the raid, and one of them did pass away a few years ago. So Deepstone Crypt will always be like a good raid for me, but a somber one. Val the Disciple. Val the Disciple, because of the whole bugs and stuff, it was very hard to actually try to do. When I tried to do the day one raid on that, I kind of got stuck on the third encounter by then. I was too tired. Oh, forgot. For Deep Stun, I stayed up 33 hours for that. Rooted Nightmares. Rooted Nightmares, my clanmates made it to the boss fight. But the previous boss, that Cabal, kind of took us like 8 hours to finish. So they were tired. And it's just like, I wanted to keep going. Found some different groups, but no group managed to get to the boss. Final. Made it 3 times, and it's just like close, but not enough. It's also the second one that I got close to, besides Deepstone. I stayed up roughly almost the same time as I did for Deepstone, almost 30 hours, and I just wanted one raid day one. For at least for Rooted Nightmares, since we did get it like they were completed, we did learn it enough to get the seal done, even on Master. So at least that's something for my clanmates. Salvation's Edge. That last raid for the last story beat of the Light and Darkness. That was an incredible raid to watch in the raid race. A little, you know, annoying for the whole blocking, but it is what it is. That puzzle, no matter what, that puzzle always blocked me from completing it with some of my clanmate because of the whole, I guess, tiring aspect of it. Like the first three encounters are easy, but then in the fourth, if you don't do it right, it just tricks you up. Now with at least the whole puzzle thing, it's a little bit easier. But at the time, it was just like it's hard to keep up. But it was one I actually did manage to do flawless. I did everything for that raid. Since it was the end of that story, like, I wanted to get it done. Desert Perpetual. That raid. The DPS checks, the bosses, like there was no way I was gonna get into that. Like if the top teams were struggling in that, there was no way I was gonna get into that. But I do like the title on it. A temporal. Like that's half my name. So I made sure to get that one done. Had a great Christmas week last year to get that done. Especially with the low population, so like I'm happy I was able to farm that. But those are my best memories I have regarding Destiny, the raids, the clanmates, people I found on LFG, and it's just like there's still more to do. I mean, right now I would like to do like the triumphs to get done. That's something that is actually, you know, incredible regarding the end-game content. There's raids, there's dungeons, there's just stuff to do, especially with the dungeons. Like almost every dungeon I managed to complete it solo flawless. I'm just missing 2 more. But I'll try to get that done. And it's just like with the introductions that they were doing for, I guess, the races, Sunder Doctrine was finally a day one emblem for me. Even though it was a dungeon, it was a day one emblem, and that is a dungeon that will stay close to me for Destiny and for, I guess, the rest of my life. It's hard not to take off that emblem when I play. I guess what I just want to say is that with everything going on, I would just like to I guess remember the good times that we had, more times that we will have going forward with the new update. And it's just like, even though we're stopped in the story, I hope it ends well. I mean, with the new meta that they're doing with the weapons, maybe there's a good way to at least do no mans for the raids. That's something that I was able to do actually in D1 after they did Age of Triumph. Did Crota, normal, flawless, because I needed that trophy for PSN. Got that done before D2 dropped. So hopefully with the new meta, there could be stuff like that. I know there's one right now for Witness. Gonna try to get that done. But everything they're doing is just like a good way to more or less leave the game as it is. And maybe, depending on what they do with the stories, we can have like a continuation maybe in the future. I really hope so. I would like to touch up on, I guess, Marathon. As much as it is, I guess, a Bungie game, it is mostly PvP focused. And like I said before, I'm not really into that. I'm mostly like RPG, mostly story-driven games. And as much as Marathon is great to watch. Don't feel myself getting into that. Maybe it could be for competition, maybe something esport related. I want to make money, but it's just not a game that appeals to me. I mean, I've seen my brother play it. He has great clips on it, but that whole extraction shooter stuff that you're competing with other people, that is just that's just not for me. I mean, I get a little bit of it in another game, Sea of Thieves, but at least in that game, you have some PvE aspect. You could do like some other adventures, some quests, and just a little bit of player versus player action. And that's mostly because of the loot. Like if you don't sell your loot, you lose it. And that's also an aspect that I really don't like in terms of these games. That you've got to be mindful of your surroundings, and that's great for some people, but not for me. And as much as Marathon may seem great for people, it's just not for me. Don't mind watching it though, but I just don't see myself playing it. I do want to touch on, I guess, continuing the Destiny IP, at least for Sony. Like this this game, all the lore that it has, it should deserve like a better end, a better, I guess, wrap up in terms of just what story beats we still have, like Xivu Arath and some other characters regarding the the Nine Saga that we just started. To just cut it off like this, it just honestly hurts because it did seem like at least a good, well-rounded story that would have been fine to pursue. Yes, it is after the whole Light and Darkness saga, but as they said before, even on the videos, it was 10 years, they got that. But this continuation, at least think about maybe just do 5 years. If you want to do, again, maybe like service, try 5 years, or raid each year, or 2 years, just to keep it interesting, or at least to finish up the story. I mean, I could think of 3 games from, I guess, PlayStation that have gotten that, at least a little continuation after years. First one I could think of is Uncharted. Uncharted 4 came out in 2016, and the third one came out in 2011. There was a couple, I guess, in between, but like story beat wise to finish off Drake's story was 5 years. Crash Bandicoot, that's another one. A very 90s game, with the third one coming out in 98. There was another one that came out regarding the IP in 2008, and then the fourth one to at least give us a challenge came in 2020. That IP is great. That game that they released was very challenging in terms of platforming, going back to the roots of Crash Team Warp. Like, I'm still struggling just to get the time trials on that, so there was at least a continuation on that. And then the third one I want to touch on is God of War. God of War had a trilogy, and then the fourth one came out in 2018, with the third one coming out in 2010. So time-wise, at least complete the story for Destiny, whatever state it stays in. Just don't let the IP like stay frozen. Move forward. It doesn't have to be live service. Just complete like these a story-driven game like the other ones released before. Like, there's a lot of lore with Destiny, and it should be more fleshed out, or at least given a better send off than it is right now, getting cut off. I guess I'm gonna close up now. Again, one of the first videos I'm doing in person. I didn't say that before. Hopefully this came out well for my clanmates, for YouTube, and just hopefully more will be to come. I'll see you.